Ladies and gentlemen, the thoughts of the mind are like the winds that stir the waters of the heart. If the mind is restless, the heart will be troubled. If the mind is disciplined, the heart will be at peace. Many seek peace in their relationships, yet few understand that peace is not found in the absence of conflict, but in the mastery of the mind. Let those who seek peace first seek discipline of the mind. Let them train their thoughts to dwell on love rather than suspicion, on grace rather than resentment, on trust rather than fear. For as the mind is disciplined, so too will the heart be at peace, and where there is peace, love will flourish. The thoughts a person entertains shape their actions and responses in relationships. A mind that dwells on fear, doubt, or resentment will create discord, while a disciplined mind focused on love, patience, and understanding will cultivate harmony. Every relationship is a reflection of the state of the mind. A person who constantly thinks of betrayal, rejection, or offense will begin to act in ways that bring about the very thing they fear. But one who trains their mind to focus on peace, trust, and kindness will build a foundation of stability and love. Imagine two people in a relationship, one whose mind is undisciplined and another who has learned to master their thoughts. The first person allows emotions to dictate their responses. If they feel slighted, they lash out. If they feel insecure, they assume the worst. Their mind is like a house with open doors, letting in every passing thought, whether good or bad. And so their relationship is filled with tension, confusion. The second person, however, has disciplined their mind. They do not allow fleeting emotions to dictate their actions. If they feel hurt, they pause before responding. If doubt arises, they examine it rather than immediately believe. Because their mind is steady, their relationship is built on a foundation of trust and peace. The way a person thinks about their partner affects how they treat them. If one constantly entertains negative thoughts, thinking their partner is untrustworthy, selfish, or unkind, then their actions will reflect those beliefs. They will be defensive, suspicious, and critical. Even if their partner has done nothing wrong, the mind will find reasons to confirm its own fears. But if a person chooses to focus on the good in their partner, to recognize their strengths rather than dwell on their flaws, then their actions will be filled with grace, patience, and kindness. A mind that looks for love will find it, just as a mind that looks for problems will never be satisfied. Many relationships fail not because of external circumstances, but because of the unchecked thoughts that take root in the mind. Small misunderstanding, if left unaddressed, can turn into deep resentment. A single doubt, if entertained long enough, can grow into complete mistrust. A passing feeling of anger, if indulged, can lead to a habit of responding with harsh. The mind is like soil. It will grow whatever is planted in it. If one sows seeds of jealousy, insecurity, and fear, then those things will take root and produce fruit. But if one sows seeds of love, understanding, and patience, then their relationship will bear the fruits of peace and joy. To discipline the mind is to take control of what thoughts are allowed to remain. Just as one does not let strangers enter their home without question, one should not let every thought enter the mind without testing it. When a negative thought arises, whether it be suspicion, anger, or doubt, it must be examined. Is this thought based on truth, or is it a product of fear? Does this thought bring life to the relationship, or does it tear it down? If it is harmful, it must be cast out and replaced with a thought that builds love rather than destroys it. A disciplined mind does not mean one ignores problems or pretends that everything is perfect. It means one chooses to think with wisdom rather than emotion. It means responding to difficulties with patience rather than reacting in anger. It means choosing to see the good in a partner even when conflicts arise. When the mind is disciplined, the relationship becomes a place of peace, not because difficulties do not exist, but because they are handled with wisdom, love, and self-control. A person who does not govern their thoughts will be ruled by emotions. Anger, jealousy, and anxiety can destroy relationships if left unchecked. By disciplining the mind, one can respond with wisdom rather than react in haste. In every relationship, emotions are inevitable, but emotions must not be allowed to dictate actions without first passing through the filter of wisdom. Many conflicts arise not because of actual wrongdoing, but because emotions were allowed to control a person's behavior before reason had time to guide them. Consider a moment of anger. The person feels wrong, and without thinking, they lash out with harsh words. Later, when the emotion fades, regret sets in. The damage caused by a single moment of uncontrolled emotion can take days, weeks, or even years to repair. But the one who has disciplined their mind recognizes the danger of reacting in the heat of emotion. Instead of speaking immediately, they pause. They allow the emotion to settle before responding. This small act of self-control preserves peace and strengthens trust in the relationship. Jealousy, too, can ruin relationships when the mind is not disciplined. A person who constantly dwells on suspicions, even without evidence, will begin to act in ways that push their partner away. Their thoughts create a reality that may not even exist. But a disciplined mind does not entertain every fear that arises. Instead, it tests the thought, asking whether it is rooted in truth or merely insecurity. If it is not based on reality, it's rejected and replaced with trust. This practice prevents unnecessary strife and allows love to flourish without the burden of unfounded accusations. Anxiety is another enemy of peace in relationship. A person who is always worried about the future, about what their partner might do or say, is never truly present in the moment. Their mind is consumed with fears, robbing them of the ability to enjoy the love they have. Anxiety-driven thoughts lead to constant questioning, unnecessary arguments, and a lack of emotional security. But when the mind is disciplined, it does not give fear the power to dictate action. Instead, it replaces anxious thoughts with trust, recognizing that no relationship can thrive when fear is in control. To govern thoughts is to take responsibility for one's own emotions. It is easy to blame another person for the way one feels, saying, "You made me angry," or "You made me insecure." But in truth, emotions arise from within, not from outside. A person cannot always control what happens to them, but they can always control how they respond. If the mind is trained to filter emotions through wisdom, then even in difficult moments, responses will be guided by patience and understanding rather than impulsive reaction. Self-control in relationships is not about suppressing emotions, but about guiding them with wisdom. A person who disciplines their mind does not deny that they feel anger, jealousy, or anxiety. Instead, they acknowledge these emotions and choose how to respond. They take time to reflect before speaking, ensuring that their words build rather than destroy. They recognize when a thought is leading them toward unnecessary conflict, and they redirect it toward understanding. Disciplining the mind requires practice. It is a daily effort to choose patience over anger, trust over suspicion, and wisdom over impulse. But over time, it becomes second nature. A person who masters their thoughts will find that their relationships are filled with more peace, less conflict, and deeper love. They will no longer be slaves to their emotions, but will instead be the master of their own heart and mind, creating a foundation of stability and harmony in all their relationships. A disciplined mind fosters patience, forgiveness, and humility, three pillars that uphold strong relationships. Without them, love weakens, trust diminishes, and division takes root. Patience allows love to endure through difficulty. Forgiveness restores what has been broke. Humility prevents pride from destroying what has been built. When the mind is undisciplined, these virtues are difficult to practice. However, when the mind is trained, relationships become a reflection of grace, understanding, and peace. Patience is the foundation of endurance in any relationship. No person is perfect, and conflicts are inevitable. When one expects perfection from another, disappointment. An undisciplined mind reacts in frustration, demanding immediate change and becoming easily angered by faults. But a mind trained in patience understands that love grows through time, grace, and understanding. A person who is patient does not allow minor irritations to build into resentment. Instead, they choose to bear with their partner's weaknesses, knowing that they too have faults that require patience from others. Forgiveness is an act of disciplined thought. The mind that clings to past wrongs imprisons itself in. Many relationships suffer not because of new wounds, but because of old wounds that were never healed. When one holds on to past offenses, they view their partner through the lens of pain rather than truth. Every action is interpreted through the memory of hurt, and even small mistakes become magnified. But a disciplined mind refuses to dwell on past offenses. It acknowledges pain, but it also chooses to release it. True forgiveness does not mean forgetting, choosing love over bitterness. It means deciding that the relationship is more valuable than the need to be right. Humility is what keeps relationships from falling apart due to pride. Many arguments continue not because of the issue at hand, but because neither person wants to admit fault. An undisciplined mind sees disagreement as a battle to be won. It resists apologizing, even when wrong, because pride blinds the heart. But a disciplined mind understands that humility is not weakness. The one who humbles themselves to seek peace rather than victory is the one who truly wins. Humility allows a person to listen rather than just speak, to understand rather than just argue, and to prioritize the relationship over their own ego. A patient person creates an environment where love can flourish. They do not demand immediate perfection, but allow growth. A forgiving person builds a relationship that is not bound by past mistakes, but is free to move forward. A humble person ensures that pride never stands in the way of love. When these three virtues are present, relationships become places of peace rather than conflict. However, they do not come naturally. They must be developed through the discipline of the mind. Training the mind to be patient means learning to pause before reacting. It means reminding oneself that every person has struggles and weaknesses. It means choosing to extend the same grace that one desires to receive. Training the mind in forgiveness means refusing to let past hurts control present actions. Yeah. It means recognizing that holding on to resentment only harms oneself. Training the mind in humility means being willing to admit fault, to listen, and to prioritize love over pride. A disciplined mind transforms relationships. Where there was once frustration, there is now patience. Where there was once bitterness, there is now forgiveness. Where there was once pride, there is now humility. These virtues do not appear overnight, but through practice they become habits. And when they become habits, love is strengthened, trust is deepened, and peace becomes the foundation of peace in relationships. Peace in relationships is not merely the absence of conflict, but the presence of understanding, trust, and mutual respect. This peace does not come by chance. It is cultivated through intentional effort and a disciplined mind. When the mind is left unguarded, it becomes a battlefield where doubts, fears, and insecurities take root, leading to unnecessary conflict and distance. But when the mind is trained to seek wisdom, to control emotions, and to focus on love rather than self-interest, peace naturally follows. An undisciplined mind reacts impulsively, allowing emotions to dictate actions. If one is angry, they lash out. If they feel slighted, they withdraw. If they are insecure, they become defensive. These uncontrolled responses create instability in relationships, making them fragile and unpredictable. But a disciplined mind approaches situations with wisdom. It does not allow temporary emotions to determine lasting decisions. Instead of reacting in anger, it seeks to understand. Instead of assuming the worst, it chooses to trust. Instead of being quick to accuse, it is slow to judge. This creates a foundation of peace, where both individuals feel safe, valued, and understood. One of the greatest enemies of peace is the habit of assuming ill intent. When the mind is undisciplined, it is quick to interpret another's actions in the worst possible light. A delayed response to a message is seen as neglect. A forgotten promise is viewed as intentional betrayal. A moment of distraction is mistaken for a lack of love. But a trained mind refuses to jump to conclusions. It chooses to believe the best rather than assume the worst. It seeks clarity rather than making accusations. This single shift in mindset can prevent countless unnecessary conflicts and strengthen trust between partners. Another key to maintaining peace is the ability to let go of unnecessary battles. Not every disagreement needs to become an argument. Not every mistake needs to be highlighted. Many relationships suffer because small matters are turned into major conflicts. An undisciplined mind clings to the need to be right, turning minor frustrations into ongoing disputes. But a disciplined mind recognizes the greater purpose of the relationship. It asks, is this worth the peace we have built? And often the answer is no. By choosing which battles to fight and which to let go, peace is preserved and love is strengthened. Communication also plays a crucial role in sustaining peace, but communication must be guided by wisdom. An undisciplined mind speaks without thinking, saying words that wound rather than heal. It allows emotions to control speech, leading to accusation, sarcasm, or cold silence. But a disciplined mind chooses words carefully. It understands that words have the power to either build or destroy. It seeks to communicate with clarity, honesty, and kindness, ensuring that even in disagreement, respect is maintained. Patience is another essential element in sustaining peace. Every person has flaws, and no relationship is without challenges. An undisciplined mind becomes frustrated easily, expecting immediate change and perfect behavior. But a disciplined mind understands that growth takes time. It does not demand perfection, but encourages progress. It does not rush to judgment, but allows space for improvement. This patience creates an atmosphere where both individuals feel safe to grow and become better without fear of constant criticism. Ultimately, a disciplined mind leads to lasting peace because it chooses love over pride, understanding over assumption, and wisdom over impulse. It recognizes that peace is not something that happens by itself, but is something that must be actively maintained through self-control, kindness, and trust. When the mind is disciplined, relationships become places of refuge rather than battlegrounds. They become sources of strength rather than stress. And most importantly, they become reflections of true love, the kind of love that is patient, kind, and enduring. In the end, peace in relationships is not found by chance, but by choice. It is the result of a disciplined mind that governs emotions, seeks understanding, and prioritizes love over pride. Without discipline, emotions lead to conflict, misunderstandings turn into divisions, and pride destroys trust. But with discipline, patience takes the place of frustration, forgiveness resentment, and humility keeps love strong. A mind that is trained to filter thoughts through wisdom will not be easily shaken by anger, jealousy, or insecurity. It will not react impulsively, but will respond with grace. It will not assume the worst, but will believe in the best. It will not hold on to past wrongs, but will choose to forgive. Such a mind builds relationships that are stable, secure, and filled with peace. Let every person take responsibility for their own thoughts and actions. Let each one practice patience, not expecting perfection, but allowing room for growth. Let forgiveness be given freely, for no relationship can stand without it. And let humility guide every interaction, placing love above the need to be right. When the mind is disciplined, relationships will flourish. They will be built on trust, strengthened by kindness, and sustained by peace. This peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of wisdom in the midst of it. It is a peace that allows love to thrive, unshaken by conflict and unwavering in its purpose. May each heart seek this peace, and may every relationship reflect the true beauty of love that endures, forgives, and remains steadfast through all things.